at Wind in the Willows. First wedding post-COVID. One of my favorite venues in the Pennsylvania area. Wind in the Willows in Grantville, PA. It's stunning. I can't wait for this wedding. Now, it's not going to be a full wedding day. I'm not doing details and getting ready. We're just doing the ceremony and husband and wife photos at the end. But it's going to be stunning. And I'm going to head down there to the ceremony site. Is happening down here. The groom is going to get ready in that little house. So I'm just going to kind of go down there and get set up and check out everything. So while I wait for everyone to get ready and for the ceremony to start and people starting to arrive, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for clouds to cover so that I can take the ceremony site location shots. I don't want to have the sun directly hitting all of the things that are set up. So we have these big puffy clouds that are continuing to come and cross over the sun. So I'm just waiting for the clouds to come because I have the time to wait. And as soon as a cloud comes over, I'll run in and take some shots of the chairs and the signs and those types of things while I wait for the groomsmen to come down. They're actually hanging out up there at their cars, but I know they're heading down this way next. So I'm just gonna wait for them to come down here and continue to take venue shots while I wait for them. Because we have this amazing lake to work with for this beautiful wedding at this venue, I'm gonna walk all the way around, or at least part way around, to take an overall venue shot from the other side of the lake. That'll help them feature if the venue would really like to use photos for their social media or anything like that. That'll help them out. And I'm just waiting at this point, so why not do something nice for them? One thing that I notice when I'm over here and looking that way is you do see cars. So one option would be to walk this way a little more so that that tree covers them, or if maybe I'll walk a little farther the other way and get another tree to cover them up and just kind of layer with things. Oh, here comes a cloud. This might be my opportunity. Been waiting for those clouds to cover the sun, and it's gonna pop back out now, but I'm not shooting now, so I'm okay with that. What I did was I walked to a spot where this tree right here is blocking the cars, but we still see the venue reception location and the guys getting ready little house, and it's just cute. And then there's the ceremony location. So I was able to get all of those things in the shot without the cars being blaringly in the shot. So because I've shot this location before, I know that this little dock over here at sunset is an amazing shot. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to use it today before the sun comes down too far. So since I have the time, I'm gonna walk over there and just take a look. I'm noticing as I walk that the ground is actually pretty wet. It's not soaked, but my feet are exposed and I can feel the dampness on my toes. So that makes me a little concerned about coming over here in the first place. I know this venue has a golf cart to use, but I'm not sure if they're using it today. So again, this is their wedding ceremony, but we're doing it all again formally in a year. So she might be willing to be a little bit more adventurous today, but I don't really know. I also don't know if they have things happening after the ceremony. I'm not probably going to stay too much past the ceremony. We'll do the ceremony and some husband and wife photos, and then that's about it. So we're just gonna kind of play it by ear, which is fun. While this shot is really, it's the overall whole lake, I just don't love the shot just because of the cars in the shot, and the owner's house. The owner's house is not really part of the venue necessarily, so I don't really love having the owner's house in the shot if I can avoid it. Maybe I can come this way and take the shot this way. That way I'm cutting out the cars over here and maybe just crop it this way. I will say for sure that the wind coming across the lake is making the ripples on the water incredibly gorgeous, and I would love to take that shot. So I think I'm just gonna go for it with the sun out and everything. You can't really see too many shadows from this angle, so I think I am gonna take the shot with the sun out this way. Okay, I'm over here at the dock. A couple things I'm noticing. One, the sun right now is way up overhead there. So by the time the ceremony happens, it's heading for over here, I believe. I'd have to get out my compass, which I will. But right around here is where the sun sets, which makes for beautiful sunset photos, but really it's still way up there. It's only, what is it, 2:30 right now. And the sun doesn't set till 8:30, and I'm not going to be here that late. So more than likely the sun's gonna be somewhere up in here when we take the photos. I still think this would be a great shot because the sun still will be behind them. It'll be a little bit harsh, but I still think it's gonna be an awesome shot if we can get it, as long as we can get around the lake without it being wet. What I would do in this case, I would use a really long lens so that I can cut out, the compression of a longer lens will cut out some of these things that are on the sides that I wouldn't want in the shot, and it will pull the background forward and spread it out a little bit. So I would probably use either my 70 to 200, or I might use my 85 in here and just come in a little bit closer and possibly do mostly verticals in here to get this shot right in here, because we have their ceremony site and the cute little White House in the background. Plus we would get the reflection in the lake, which would be amazing. We'll see. With the sun out right now, I am really straining the limits of my gear in this bright sun. So my shutter speed is as fast as it can go at 4,000. My ISO is as low as it can go, and I don't want to bump my aperture up too much higher, or I'm not going to get the look of my photos that I really love. If it was even brighter, we would have to bump up the aperture higher just to get the exposure correct. But luckily, it was right on the line. So I was able to keep it at 2.0, right around where I like my photos to look, as far as having a blurry background and some depth of field. Well, I just talked to the groom, and they're still thinking about doing a first look, even though it's going to be really informal today. And looking around, it's pretty slim pickings as far as locations for a first look. The sun's out in full force, it's straight overhead, which doesn't give us much shade to work with. So my thoughts are, looking around, is to either just go for it in full sun on top of the hill overlooking the lake. Plan 1. Plan 2 would be to do it, I'm gonna walk up and see, but in the shade of this building up here, to see if there's enough shade. It looks, I don't know if I love the background, so I'm just gonna check that out and see if there are any other shade options. Sorry for the wind. Or to do it down here by this little house. I'm not sure if I love that though, with the spotty, splotchy lighting on the ground over here. So I'm primarily going to be shooting one way since I don't have a second photographer for this day. Normally I do have a second photographer. This is just such a small thing that we're doing today. I'm not having a second photographer come with me today, but that does mean I can't get both reactions. As I trudge up the hill with my gear, I wish I knew how many calories I burned on a wedding day, especially with ones that are hilly. But I don't know if we're gonna want the bride to have to walk the whole way down the hill and then back up for their first look, so I'm probably gonna do it on top of the hill. Officially waiting for the ceremony to start. We've got our 25 or less guests starting to gather. Almost everyone's here. We've got about 5 minutes, and everyone is up there in that building. Well, the bride is actually in the house that's over here. The clouds are making things a little bit difficult, and so I have 2 cameras on my body at all times during ceremonies. Typically I have one set for one direction and the other set for kind of the other direction, so as the bride comes down the aisle, and then also for the groom's reaction, because they're both in different light. But today I think I'm going to have one set basically for cloud and one set for sun, so that I can quickly change between those options. And then once they get up there, I will switch both of them to the light that they're standing in, which most likely will be sun in their face. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some magic clouds for their ceremony so they don't have the sun in their face the entire time. But I'm gonna start taking some photos of people coming down and be all set for the bride as she comes down. So as you can see, as this couple's walking, the sun just came out as they were walking down, and now you can see those harsh shadows in front of them. So we're kind of hoping that the sun behaves and decides to go behind a cloud for the entire ceremony. We never get what we want though. All right, you guys, we did some backlighting right here on this dock. It was fantastic. And now we're heading for the shade of the line of trees down there by the ceremony site. So I'm gonna grab a couple shots of them walking from behind just to utilize the time, but I need to get a little closer to them. So I'm hustling with all my gear. It's really heavy and it's really hot outside. Well, it was definitely a hot one today, but we're all done. We did the last set of husband and wife portraits right back here. It's not the most glamorous spot, but the light was right. We have the light coming in through the trees back here. The sun's up here, way up high in the sky, but we had enough shade to work with back here. So we're all done. I can't wait for you guys to see everything.